Hello students, welcome back. In this video, we're going to add a mechanic expansion to our game. This is going to be a brand new system that sort of ties a lot of our previous systems together, and it's going to come in the form of what we'll call a ping sweep. So a ping sweep is a way for us to essentially interact with every single relay that we have in our network. When our relays are about to, we'll say, explode, right? Their timers are about to go off, they start flashing. If we can't reach them in time, we're going to be able to hit the P key on our keyboard to send out a ping, or essentially a circle that grows in radius in all directions. And when that circle encounters a relay, it's going to increase their timer so that they don't explode. Also, if we see a lot of noise injections moving through our network, we can use the ping sweep to clear them all at once. So it's going to be a very powerful tool. But because it's so powerful, it won't be free to use. We'll have it on a cooldown so we can't spam it, and it will cost some of our system resources. So it'll cost bandwidth or integrity, and we'll see how we leverage that coming up here in this video. So let's head to the computer screen and we'll dive right in. So I have lesson 7's mechanic expansion, our ping sweep, our starter file open here in vscode.dev. I'm going to minimize this file though so I can open it directly. So I'm going to go to SignalStorm, lesson 7, and we'll open our starter file. And so let's see what we've got right here. So right away, my flavor text, it now tells me I can press P during play to send a ping sweep. So let's see if we can do that. So I'll hit enter here to start. All right, so let's see, ping sweep. Ping sweep, ping sweep. No ping sweep is happening right now. All right, so that clearly is not a system that is operational. So we got to come back over to our code and begin working on it. So mission 1 in the mission checklist says that we need to adjust the ping system constants. Anytime we bring a new system into the game, I always like to put some constants right down here in our student edit zone. These are the knobs, the dials that we can turn to tune the system and adjust how it looks, feels, or plays within our game. So if we look, we have constants for our player and some of our relays, and then our bandwidth and integrity, and then the values that we lose when we click them or gain when we click them, our ramp system, our noise system, and now we see our ping system. So let's work through each of these ping constants and set them to something probably other than 100 across the board, because that just doesn't seem right. So our ping cost. Our ping is going to cost resources, either bandwidth or integrity. 100 is an extreme cost because that is what our actual whole system is. So like right now, it would just drain my entire integrity. That would be bad. So let's set it to 25. We're going to cost a quarter of our maximum ping, our maximum bandwidth or integrity. And then we're not going to be able to spam this tool. So we're going to have a cooldown. So our cooldown will be 4 seconds. So if I use ping, I then have to wait 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Now I can use ping again. Our pings, when they interact with any relays, are going to add some time back to their timer. So how much are they going to reset? We'll set it to 2 seconds. We'll set everything right to 2 seconds. So that'll be nice for us. And then we are going to have this ping move because the ping is going to start basically as a single dot, and then it's going to grow out as a radius of a circle. So the circle is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to move outwards in all directions. And we're going to have it move very fast. So let's set it to 1,000 pixels per second. And then its radius, the circle is going to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. When it hits, we'll say 600 pixels, that's its maximum radius. That's when we know to destroy the ping. All right, let's see what else we have here for our ping system. If I look at our color palette, we have, we got a new ping color. Okay, so 0 in the red, almost all the green, all the blue. This is going to be like a nice cyan color. And our transparency here is 0.85. So we'll slightly be able to see through it. So that should look pretty nice, I think, given our color scheme. And okay, nothing else here. Let's go out of our student edit zone to our gameplay variables section. What do we got to work with? All right, so we have a variable called ping. If you notice here, noise bars, we had an array to collect them all. Relays, we had an array to collect them all. But ping, we're not using an array because a ping is only going to be one singular thing. We'll create a ping and we will not be able to create another one until that one is destroyed. So I don't need to have an array or a container for all my ping objects. I'm only going to ever have one ping object at a time. And if I don't have a ping object, it's set to null, the empty data, all right? So that is how we're going to reference our ping here to begin. We'll say null, there is no ping that's created. And then we have our ping cooldown timer seconds. This is the thing that when we set our ping, we'll fire it off to 4, and then we'll count it down 3, 2, 1, 0. And if this thing is not 0, it means we're in cooldown. We can't spawn another ping. We're not going to spam this system. Okay, let's just go a little further, get a little bit more bearings. In our draw function, which runs every single frame of our game, as long as we're in play mode, we're updating everything. Our ping is now a part of that. And we're checking to see if our ping collided with any relays. So those things are going to happen every single frame of the game now. And then lastly, key press, which fires anytime we press a key on our keyboard, and we ask, okay, was it enter? Did we press the R key? We are now asking if we pressed the P key. And if we did, we are calling a function spawn ping. Clearly that's not working yet because I'm pressing P right now and I'm not spawning anything. I don't see anything on there. But we'll fix it. We'll get that working here momentarily. All right, let's go to mission number 2 now. Mission 1 is done. We got a good overview of the ping system. Mission 2 finds us in this function, reset game to defaults. So this is where we are going to reset all of these systems that we have created anytime we start a new game over. So we reposition our player, we empty out our relays array, we reset bandwidth integrity, set messages sent back to 0 and runtime back to 0, we reset our ramp, we reset our noise bars, and now we want to reset our ping system. So imagine if I had died while a ping was active. If I restart the game, that ping would still be present, moving out in all directions in a circle. I don't want that. The ping, when we restart a game, should go back to null. There should be no ping created. And then maybe we were in a cooldown. So let's set that ping cooldown timer, tab for autocomplete. We're going to set it equal to 0. So now as soon as the game starts, we're not in cooldown, so I can spawn a ping immediately if I choose to. All right. We just got to get this ping system working. So mission 3 finds us in generate ping data. Ooh, this is kind of nice. I'm going to just scroll up a little bit because we had the noise system that we previously introduced. We brought this object into our game and we had 3 functions to help us. We generated noise data, we spawned our noise, and then we updated our noise. So generate, spawn, update. We're going to repeat that structure here because we are bringing in another object, the ping object. So we will generate ping data, we'll spawn our ping, and then we'll update our ping. And this is repeated structure. We could use this over and over again. Imagine we wanted a power up. We could generate power up data, spawn power up, update power up. We want enemies in our game. We could say generate enemy data, spawn enemy, update enemies. It's repeatable, and that's super, super powerful for us. So let's go to generate ping data. It says complete the ping data object, store the cursor position and starting radius. So right now, our ping object is got 3 properties in it, an X property, a Y property, and a radius. Well, right now, when we spawn a ping, if we create a ping with this data, its center of this circle is going to be X coordinate 0, Y coordinate 0. So if I were like right here and I spawn a ping, the ping is going to be centered way up here in the corner. That's really silly. In fact, I want the ping to be centered wherever the player is at. So I'm going to use the player's X position and the player's Y position. And those are properties of the player. So right here, let's say, all right, for our ping object, we're going to set its X property equal to player.x. And its Y property, we will set to player.y. And its radius, I will actually keep its radius at 0 because it's going to start at 0, but then it's going to increase. It's going to grow. It's going to go from 0 to like, I don't know, 100, then to 200, and then to 300, and then to 400 and 500 and 600, which is our maximum size. And then I think it will, we'll have to kill it, right? We'll have to get rid of it. So our data object here is set. Our X position, our Y position, and our radius set to 0. I think this is great. Let's go see what mission 4 has in store for us. So mission 4 says, okay, now we got to activate our ping. So we generate our ping data. So this is good. So where do we return this object to? Well, we're going to return this object to wherever it was called from. So I'm going to gather that this is going to come from spawn ping. Because remember, when I press, I'll jump, you stay. You can stay right here. If I go to get key pressed, anytime I press the P key, I'm calling spawn ping. So this is where we find ourselves in our mission. The first thing we say is, if ping is not equal to null, return. So remember, right now, ping is equal to null. We have that line in there. We assigned ping to null. So ping is equal to null. So this is false, which means we don't run this line of code. We pass this test. We're not going to return and get out of this function. See, if there was some ping object, right? If there was a ping object that had an x property, a y property, and a radius property, well, now ping is not equal to null. It's equal to this object. This is true, so we would return. And that means get out of the function. Don't run any of this other code that's down here. Okay, so we'll pass that first test, and then we check another test. It says if ping cooldown timer seconds is greater than 0, return, get out of this function. If we're on cooldown, if our timer is set to 4, get out of this function. If it's 3, get out of this function. 2, out of the function. 1, out of the function. 0. Now you can stay in the function because you have no longer been in cooldown. You're no longer in cooldown. So if we pass these two tests, it's time to activate a new ping. We're going to trigger a ping sweep by spending resources. We're going to use bandwidth first if it's there, and then integrity second if it's needed. So bandwidth, which is the thing that we're using in order to send our message, we'll spend that first. So right now, if I have enough bandwidth to send a ping, we'll use it. So right now I don't have enough bandwidth. So then we'll use integrity. And that integrity is going to be like our health. So that's super risky. So if our bandwidth is greater than our ping cost, let's send our message. So we're going to say bandwidth is minus equal ping cost. So we'll subtract the ping cost from our bandwidth. All right, so that looks pretty good. And then we'll say else if if integrity, so if we can't pay with it for bandwidth, we're going to pay with it in integrity. So integrity is greater than ping cost. We'll subtract our ping cost. And then if we can't pay for it in bandwidth and we can't pay for an integrity, it means we can't actually afford to cast a ping. So we're just going to say return. We're going to get out of this function before we do something very important. See, right here, we're paying for the ping in bandwidth, or right here, we're paying for the ping in integrity. We probably should create the ping. So where do I create the ping from? Our generate ping data function. And I'm going to use it to update my variable ping. Remember when it was equal to null? It's not going to be equal to null anymore. It's going to be equal to some object that has an x property, a y property, and a radius. And where are we going to get that object from? Generate ping data, because generate ping data will return that object to us. It returns that object, and now we store it in that variable ping. I'm going to do one more thing here. I think I'm going to constrain. We're subtracting from our bandwidth. We're subtracting from our integrity. But you know what? We're checking. Let me see. Okay, I think this is pretty good. I was thinking about constraining these values, but we're never going to subtract the ping cost unless bandwidth is greater than ping cost. So I don't have to worry about it going negative. So this works really, really good. So if we can afford to pay our ping cost in bandwidth, we pay it. If we can't, we check to see if we can pay it in integrity. We pay it. If we can't, we get out of the function. If we pass that test, we actually go ahead and generate our ping. And then we trigger our cooldown. We set our cooldown timer to 4 seconds as shown by this constant. And then here's where the magic happens. The noise bar array, we empty it out completely. So it's completely gone. There will be no more noise on the screen when we create a ping. Let's test this out right now. Let's test it out. So I'm going to refresh the page. I'm going to press enter to begin. All right. So right now I don't have any bandwidth, but I'm going to create a ping. The noise went away. Perfect. All right. But I can't create any more pings. Ooh, that stinks. That sort of stinks. Why can't I create any more pings? I was able to create one ping. Let's see if I can do it, if I can pay for the ping with bandwidth. So I'm going to get some bandwidth. All right, so here's some bandwidth. I got a couple of noise bars on the screen. Ping. hey, I paid in bandwidth and all of the noise went away. But I can't create another ping. And here's the reason why. Right here, I set ping to some non-null data, right? I have an object in here that has X property, Y property, and radius. So now when I try to spawn my next ping, this test kicks me out, right? Because ping is no longer equal to null, so we return another function. So we got to figure out a way, how do we set it back to null? Well, we'll get there soon. I think before we do that, we probably want some visual sort of feedback on this ping system. So mission 5 is all about drawing our ping. So let's look at what we're doing here. This finds us in the draw ping function. So we're here with all of our other draw functions. And if we look, we're calling this inside of draw scene. So every frame of our game, we're drawing our background, our noise, our ping, our relays, our player, our HUD, and our overlays if certain conditions are met. So in draw ping, we first do a check. If the ping object that we have, our variable, is just null, meaning there is no current object here, there's no X property, Y property, radius property, then we just get out of this function. We're not going to draw anything if it doesn't exist. But if we pass this test, we say no fill, empty my paint bucket. We are not going to fill in this shape we're about to draw at all. And then we pick up a marker of a specific color, our ping color, that cyan color that we were looking at. And now, now we want to make a ring that's clearly visible. So this is going to be our ping sweep ring. You know what, though? I think I'm going to make my marker a little thicker first. So I'm going to do stroke weight. And let's make our marker a weight of 3. So it's going to be a nice thick marker. And then we're going to draw a circle. And a circle needs 3 pieces of information. It needs the X coordinate of the center, the Y coordinate of the center, and then the diameter. Well, my ping object has an X coordinate. My ping object has a Y coordinate. That's wherever the player is. Remember, we set the ping X and ping Y to be wherever the player was when we create the ping, when we spawn the ping. And then the ping also has a radius, so ping.radius. But to get a diameter from a radius, you multiply by 2. All right, let's test this out. Let's see, can we create a ping? One singular ping. We're not going to be able to create more than one ping because we never set the object back to null. So ready? Here's my ping. Boop. Oh, look at that cute little ping dot. That's adorable. Let me restart the game. Let's create another little ping dot over here. Boop. There's that little ping dot. But, you know, we would love for that ping dot to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It makes sense that it's that big. And the reason why it makes sense is if I go back up to our generate ping data. Let me search up here. I'll do generate ping data. We set its radius to 0. I mean, look at what happens if we set its radius to 100 when we make it. Now we'll actually see it. Let's just see. Boop. Hey, look at that. There's a ping circle. That's kind of cool. But we don't want it to be, you know, a fixed ring of 100. We want it to start like a radius of 0 and then get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So let's set it back to 0 and let's go to our next mission. So I'll do Control F and type mission 6. And here we go. Perfect. This is in our update ping function. In update ping, we're passing in DT. We first decrease our timer, our cooldown timer, so that's great. And then we check to see if there is a ping present. If there's not, if a ping is present, we just get out of this function because there's nothing to update. I'm sorry, if a ping is null, we get out of this function. There's nothing to update. But if a ping is present, if we have an object, we want to expand its radius. So right now its radius, we just saw its radius property is 0. So we want to increase it. And we want to increase it by our ping speed, pixels per second. So that's how fast it's going to be moving outwards. But if you remember, when we were dealing with distance and time, we typically have to multiply this by velocity. Let's go over this really quick here. I'll show you why. So there's a common relationship in physics that describes motion. It says velocity is the change in distance over the change in time, or speed is the change in distance over the change in time, we'll say. So if I want to solve for distance, and distance is essentially my radius, how big the circle is going to be. So like we have a point, and then that point is going to move out in all directions a certain amount. So it's got to move out, and so we get a bigger radius, and then it moves out even more in all directions. So we get a bigger radius, and the radius just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So radius is our distance here. So to solve for distance, I'm going to multiply this side by time and this side by time. time cancels, and I see distance is speed times time. So distance right here is my radius. That's the size of the circle moving out in all directions. This is my pixel speed per second. So I just got to multiply that by a time interval. And that time interval is dt, the amount of time that has elapsed in a given frame. So we're going to take that speed and we will multiply by dt. All right, now we should hopefully see that ping expand. So ready? Here we go. Whoa, there was our ping. Hey, that was pretty cool. Of course, I can still only make one because that ping still exists. We're not getting rid of it yet. So here's my other ping. I started down here. It's going to start exactly at the center of the player. So that's really cool. So let's go to ping mission number 7. This is our ping lifetime. It says end the ping when it reaches its max radius. Remove the ping after it finishes expanding. So, right, see where we're setting ping back to null? All right, when do we want to set it back to null? This is like us removing something from the array, right? Except there's just one thing to remove, so we just set it to null. Well, we want to set it to null when the radius surpasses the max radius that we set. It's grown too big. So we're going to take our ping and we're going to look at its radius property, and we're going to say, okay, if that is greater than or equal to one of our tunable constants in the system, ping max radius. If it gets bigger than 600, set it to null. And once it gets set back to null, then in spawn ping, we will no longer be returning out of this function from this. We'll pass these tests and we'll be able to pay for another ping and generate a new one. So now let's see if we can create multiple pings. So ready? I'm going to ping. Boop. There it is. All right. Now I'm on a cooldown of 4 seconds, so I won't be able to make another one. So now I have a bunch of bandwidth. Can I use it? All right, I can use it to pay for a ping, and you see the noise bars go away. I'm going to make another ping. Noise bars go away. And if I try to spam P, it won't make one until 4 seconds is up. All right, there it is. Perfect. And there we go. Network is compromised. So it looks like the ping system's working there. Now, the only thing we want to do is we have it destroying our noise, right? So it's destroying the noise pretty nicely. And that's a nice feature, right? Ping, boom, the noise goes away. But I also want it to trigger these relays and reset their timers. And we're not doing that yet. So let's go to mission number 8, our final mission, right? We did mission 7. Yep, our final mission finds us in check ping relay collisions. All right, so what are we doing here? We know this is called every frame in the game. We saw that earlier from our draw function, for our P5 draw function. First, if ping is equal to null, just get onto this function. There's no ping present, so we're gone. But if it's not, we pass that test, and then we loop through all of our relays. And if we look, our relay now has a new attribute called has been pinged. Ooh, let's go check this out. So I'm going to check out the generate relay data function. So let's look at our relays. We have row, column, XY, type, timer, and then we have has been pinged, and it's set equal to false. Because once we ping a relay, we're not going to be able to ping it again. So we'll set this to true when we ping it, and then we should be done pinging our relay. So with that attribute there, let's see what we do. If it has been pinged, we just continue over in our for loop, which means don't run the rest of this code for this particular relay. Skip it and go to the next one. And then we get our relay's center coordinates, and we get our dx and dy. We've sort of looked at this already in one of our lessons, and we figure out how far away our ping is in the x direction, our ping in the y direction, and then we check for a collision using the Pythagorean theorem. And if that happens, what do we want to do? Well, we're going to take our relay timers. So this particular relay, its timer seconds property, which was decreasing, and we're going to set it equal to the largest value, so max, out of either the relay dot timer seconds, so its current timer, or the ping relay reset seconds. So we said, hey, we're going to give every timer or every relay, we're going to set it to 2 seconds. So that's really great. If like the timer is currently at like 0.5 seconds, then setting it to 2 is an awesome idea. It helps us out. If the timer is at, like 1.2 seconds, setting it to 2 is awesome. It helps us out. But if the timer is currently at like, 2.7 seconds and we ping it, setting it to 2 seconds is a really bad idea. It actually hurts us. So we're going to look at these two numbers. What is the relay's current timer? And compare it to our constant of 2 seconds, and we'll pick the larger of the two. That way we're always getting the benefit of the doubt. All right, so that looks really great. And then we'll take our relay and we'll look at its has been pinged property, and we'll say, hey, this relay just got pinged, so we should set this to true. And with that, I think our ping system is completely done. So let's head back to our screen and let's check it out. So I'm going to restart my game, or I'll refresh my game, and I'm going to let a relay get flashing. So once they start flashing, I'm going to ping. And look at that, it stopped flashing. It went back to its full timer of, or it went back to 2 seconds. So that was really good. Let's see. All right, flashing. Oh, I can't pay for the ping. I don't have enough health or integrity. Oh, I died. Okay, let's try it again. So flashing, reset it. Boom. Oh, I missed it. It didn't get there in time. So it's got to collide with it. Yeah, that makes sense. It's got to collide with it, we said. So let's see. Collision. Boom. And now its timer is reset back to 2 seconds. So that system is working really good. If we find ourselves, let's see, we'll play for a little bit. All right, I'm sending some messages. Can't get through. Ooh, can I get through? There we go. I got through. All right. Ping, get rid of all that noise. Pick up these relays. Oh, I hit that noise. Sugar. When you hit the noise, remember, all of your relays disappear. They all explode. All right, I'm going to ping, get rid of that. So here, it's kind of nice. So if I'm stuck, I can ping. If timers are about to go off, I can't get there, I'm going to ping, and now they were saved, and I can pick them up. So this system's working pretty nice. This is a pretty fun game. You really have to think about where you want to maneuver through the network to avoid the noise and pick up the relays that are most crucial, the ones that are just about to explode and damage the network. So I think our game is pretty much done. I'd probably say in the next video, we'll add some just visual polish, some things that are just going to make our game look better. Maybe not play any differently, but it'll look better and be more engaging, and therefore probably play better with this visual feedback that we'll add in our next video. So I can't wait to see you then.